Lawyers, what's a law that isn't real that normal people insist exists? It's a law that exists but widely misunderstood as the concept of entrapment. If the police put a bait vehicle in a high-crime area, that is not entrapment. If the police are watching a bar known to overserve to see if there are impaired drivers at the end of the night, that is not entrapment. Entrapment only occurs when a gov agent suggests committing a crime that you were not otherwise going to commit. An arrest isn't magically invalidated if the police don't read you your rights on the spot. There could be a whole thread of just misconceptions people have from watching cop TV. Miranda rights protect you from self-incrimination when being questioned by the police for a crime. It doesn't mean they have to Miranda you the second you get arrested. If you are in question, then it doesn't apply. People also think it's illegal not to let them make a phone call after being arrested. Came here to mention the one phone call misconception. They don't have to let you call anyone as long as they give you reasonable access to a lawyer. That's why I love in The Dark Knight when the Joker says I want my phone call and the cop ignores him, because that's exactly what they would do. Not American, but why can they do this? Why can't you at least inform your spouse or something that you're alive? Or, at least, if they are afraid you tell them something you are not supposed to, tell them themselves. Situation dependent. Example, if you're in for interrogation, they don't want you calling your spouse who was really your co-conspirator so you can tell them you're okay, which is code for flush the drugs and flee the drop house. Is it illegal for the lawyer to inform the spouse that his client has been arrested? If the client gives explicit consent, then it is legal. If not, it falls under the professional secret. At least where I'm from. It's federal law in the US that a plainclothes or undercover police officer has to identify themselves as law enforcement if asked. No, it's not the law, and they can tell you whatever the duck they want. I'm reminded of the Breaking Bad cold open where Badger gets arrested for selling product to an undercover officer because of this exact made-up law. LOL. They can do drugs to prove they aren't a cop too. An undercover cop went to court to get his rehab for cocaine covered by workers' comp. It was covered. The sad thing about that is he had to take it to court. No doubt. Workers' comp hates paying out, even to cops. Driving with interior overhead car lights on is not illegal. Hashtag X200B, edit. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. My first. In California, it's not illegal to discuss your wages with your coworkers, despite what your boss might say. Edit. I'm a lawyer in California. I assume it's the same in the other 49 states, but don't want to speculate. It's actually illegal nationally for a company to retaliate for discussing wages. They typically just make up some other bullshit reason to fire you instead. Make up some other bullshit reason or fire you for no reason at all, as California is an at-will employment state. My father, who is a lawyer, policemen cannot lie to you. This is false. They can and they do. I heard you were smuggling animals. What are you, a cop? Dash. No laws against driving barefoot. Mandatory edition, in the US. In Germany, while appropriate footwear is not directly required, you can be found at fault if your choice of footwear or lack thereof leads to your inability to avert an accident. I believe it's the same in Australia. If you have an accident whilst wearing flip-flops, you might struggle with insurance to prove that wearing them didn't cause or add to the causing of the accident. People that think it's illegal to be videotaped in a public space. I saw someone on Nextdoor complaining about my reasonable right to privacy in a public place, when someone was shaming 20 people standing together waiting for takeout. Sorry, that's the opposite of how it works. If big-time celebrities can't stop paparazzi from following them in their family 247, I have no clue why ordinary people believe that they have the right not to be caught on camera in public. I'm honestly surprised that more celebrities don't hire people to follow the paparazzi themselves around and make their life as annoying as possible. Things like standing in front of their shots or following them to the doctor's office and then demanding to know why they were there. Idea 100%. Watch a TV show where especially obnoxious paparazzi were followed around for months and harassed in the same way they harass others. I second this. Start a show called How'd You Like It? Take people on FB, Reddit, Twitter, and put them through whatever awful take they are espousing or doing. In the UK, that it is illegal to drink under the age of 18. You can buy alcohol with a meal at 16, beer, wine, cider, and you are not breaking any laws if you give your child some alcohol in the privacy of your own home and they are over the age of 5. Edit. At 16 you have to be accompanied by an adult and it is paid for by the adult. Thanks, Klusk. You can buy alcohol with a meal, but do restaurants have a final say as to whether or not they'll serve it? Yes. The restaurant chain I used to work at wouldn't sell alcohol to anyone under 18, even if it was just one beer to have with the meal. In the UK, it's not illegal to park on someone else's driveway. It's classified as trespassing, a civil offense, not criminal, which means the police can't do anything. This particularly surprises people, as many think that they have exclusive rights to the parking outside their house as well. What recourse do you have? In my old London borough, you phone the council and they guaranteed to turn up in an hour and tow it away, no questions asked. So long as you can prove you live there, that it's across in your property, and you don't want it there, they tow it and charge the owner for recovery. It's not the same everywhere, but because it's only a simple matter, you can just have it towed away yourself and charge the owner for recovery and storage. If nothing else, it's fly tipping. As a former lawyer, UK, I lost count of the amount of people that thought jaywalking was a crime. Unless it's a road that specifically states no pedestrians or a motorway, no such offense exists here. Too much American media. It technically is a crime in America, so people think it applies in other places. Even in America, that is on a state level. In some states, it is just on a city level. My dad once got a ticket for jaywalking because he walked around a police car that was stopped at a red light, completely obstructing the crosswalk. Edit. Just because people are upvoting, I'll tell you a bit about my dad because I've been thinking a lot about him. He was a great guy. Wonderful dad. Super generous with time and resources. He always helped whoever needed it. He lost a head in battle with mental illness in October 2019. I miss him a lot. I wish I could talk to him again. Tell him how life is. Invite him over to see our new house. Go on a walk with him through the woods. Thanks for listening, Reddit. The one that is the most frustrating to me, even though it's not really a specific claim that a particular law exists, more a rule of evidence, is that's just hearsay. You have no evidence. Comes up all the time, in all kinds of contexts. Even lawyers love using it when it suits them. Nothing but hearsay and speculation. Usually, what people mean when they say that is don't believe them. They're lying. Which, fair enough, but that's not what hearsay means. Lots of evidence is just a person talking. That's what a witness is. It's why testimony exists. It's not evidence just because it's a person talking. Hearsay just means that in most cases, you can't have person A say that person B said XYZ, in order to prove that XYZ actually is true. Hearsay, get it? I heard B say it. It just means your witness can only talk about things they actually know about. And, extremely importantly, It also doesn't count as hearsay when person B is actually the person on the other side of the case. Person A is totally allowed to say person B told me yes, I will commit the crime on Tuesday if person B is the defendant, who has been accused of committing the crime on Tuesday. You don't get to complain it's hearsay if you're the one who supposedly said the thing they heard. This should be higher. People don't seem to be aware that a single person testifying about what they saw happen can often be decisive evidence on its own. Until the development of photography and video cameras, witness testimony was one of the highest forms of evidence possible to provide. Leaving no witnesses was more important before the days of CCTV. With the recent advent of deepfakes, it's possible we may end up returning to a world where witness testimony is regarded more highly than video evidence. Man, I don't even want to think about what deepfakes could end up doing to the rules of evidence. Paralegal. A lot of people think that the law requires you to be a good, decent person. If I'm sitting on a bench and see a blind person about to walk into the path of a bus, it's completely legal for me, in the United States, to remain silent, take my cell phone out, and take a video of his death. It's even legal for me to profit from the video. I'd be a monster for doing it, but there's no law imposing a duty on me to tell this stranger, watch out for that bus. You should never tell a blind guy to watch out for a bus. Listen out for that bus.